Step one, wake up early, gonna rise with the sun. Step two, get some good, some food in you. Step three, think real hard about what you wanna be. Step four, everybody just do your thing.
Wake up, today's gonna be a good day. 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 Wake up, today's gonna be a good day.
Good morning, and welcome to Good Morning Crypto, where we turn your early hours in the morning into your edge and financial freedom. Today, I've got a few Bitcoin headlines. One is having to do with Coinbase and some targets that are in line with some of the things I've talked about for the first quarter. Before I think we do see a little bit of some pullback in the markets, at least the crypto market. We'll kind of have to see how that plays out with the new administration on the TradFi side of things. But I do think Bitcoin gets that run up in quarter one before we really see some pullback. I do have another headline about MicroStrategies. And as we all know, MicroStrategies has a lot to do with Bitcoin. And we'll dive into that here in a second. I do have the stock heat map pulled up, so let's dive on in and get you prepped for some success today. We do have Apple sitting up 0.67 from yesterday in the pre-market, taking back some of those gains. It is dropping kind of hard right now. It was sitting about 50%, 0.5% down. It's now sitting over a percent down. So getting hit kind of hard in the pre-market. We do have NVIDIA, which is sitting up quite nicely from yesterday, up 3.43% in the pre-market, continuing on those gains, up 1.84% and climbing. We do have Berkshire Hathaway, which is sitting down just a bit from yesterday, down 0.47% in the pre-market, taking back a little bit of those losses, up 0.19%. We've got Amazon sitting up 1.53 from yesterday in the pre-market, taking some losses, down 0.23%. We do have Eli Lilly, which got hit extremely hard yesterday, down 2.16% in the pre-market, continuing on those losses, down 0.12%. We've got ExxonMobil sitting down, kind of neutral though, but just down 0.11, and in the pre-market looking to take back some of those losses, sitting up 0.63%. We've got Tesla sitting neutral as well, neutral in the positive though, unlike ExxonMobil. It's sitting up 0.15% in the pre-market, taking back all of those gains from yesterday and a little bit extra, sitting down 1.42%. We do have Microsoft, which is sitting up quite nicely from yesterday, up 1.06 in the pre-market, continuing on that trend, up 0.46 right now. We do have Google also sitting up from yesterday, up 2.5% in the pre-market, sitting kind of neutral right now. It's been wavering from the down 0.1 to about the up 0.1. So right now, it's sitting at that down 0.08. Meta, on the same token, is sitting up 4.23%, up quite nicely off of some very good news that I see it as good news. They've got a new member of their board. They added Dana White, so some big news for Meta. We do have it sitting up 4.23%, and in the pre-market, taking back some of those gains, sitting down 0.79% right now. Let's hop over to the crypto side of things. We do see a bit of red on the market this morning, which is, to be expected. We did see a massive move up from yesterday, so seeing a little bit of some retracement after a big move is definitely healthy. We have Bitcoin sitting down 1.25%, Ethereum sitting down 1.22%, We've got XRP sitting neutral, up 0.29%. We've got Cardano sitting up nicely, up 4.29%. We've got Dogecoin sitting neutral, down 0.42%. Got BNB sitting up 0.39%, and Solana sitting down 1.87. For the rest of that top 10, we do have Toncoin sitting down 0.27, Chainlink sitting down 2.52, Sway is sitting up 1.11. We've got Avalanche sitting down at 2.07, and Tron sitting neutral at up 0.35%. Let's hop over to that economic calendar, see what we've got for the morning. We do have a Fed chair speaking in about an hour, a little less than an hour, coming out at 8 a.m. Eastern Time. Other than that, we do have at 8:30 the balance of trade for the US and Canada. So another slight big market mover. Those imports will be very important data, especially considering that the new administration is going to be putting tariffs on a lot of these imports to negate some of their spending costs. A little later in the day, we do have ISM Services PMI. That will be a big mover for the market in the morning. That's going to be at 10 a.m. Eastern Time. Also at the same time, we do have JOLTS job openings coming out as well, looking to be just a little bit down from the 7.744 million down to 7.7 million. So some positive data for the market if things come out on target. The ISM PMI is also forecasted to be going in the right direction, looking to be from prior 52.1 to 53.3. Other than that, we don't really have any other heavy data for the day. So after we see the moves off of our data drop for the morning, you can kind of expect the market to kind of do what the market does and try to take advantage of those market maker positions where we've got some liquidity lying to the bottom side of us after the big move up. We do have some data that's coming out on Wednesday. That will be some Fed chair speakings and initial jobless claims. And then I believe Thursday was the other big move. Oh, no, Wednesday is the other big mover. That will be at 2 p.m. tomorrow. We do get the FOMC minutes from our last FOMC meeting. So that will be the other big market mover. Let's hop over to our fear and greed. Oop, I didn't have that pulled up in the background. There we go. We've got the stock market sitting in 37 and fear ticking back up as we've been getting that move to the upside on things. So getting some healthy moves on the stock market. We are sitting back in extreme fear for crypto, sitting at 78 and up 2 points after that big move to the upside. Let's take a look at that liquidation heat map. Let's refresh that because that's been pulled up since about 4:30 my time. So took out some of that liquidity that was residing to the bottom side of us. Let's zoom that in just a little bit so you can get a better view on things. As you can see, we took out the liquidity to the bottom side of us on that 24-hour chart that was residing at 100,800. We do have another hot spot to the top side of us sitting at 103,231. That's on that daily chart. Let's zoom it on out just a little bit to see where liquidity might lie on that 3-day to kind of get a gauge if we do get some quick market moves where those market makers might try to push things. We do have some liquidity sitting to the bottom side of us around 97,151. Another hot spot sitting at about 97,730. And a very light hot spot sitting at 98,300. To the top side of us, we do have some liquidity sitting about 103,130 all the way up to 103,324. If we zoom that on out to the 2 week, you can kind of see what I was talking about on some of the market maker positions that we might move to here in the next week. We do have some light hot spots sitting to the top side of us. That's going to be that 103 300 range. And other than that, it's pretty light on either side of us. So kind of no market maker positions to really drag things on the higher term time frames. If you zoom it on out just a little bit more, you can see those liquidity pools are lying at the extremes of the high and the low of our range, which, you know, depending on the kind of move we make for January, you might see the quick move to the downside to grab some of the liquidity before really blasting off. I do still have a bottom side target, which is quite in line with what the article was talking about here. Let's hop over to that Bitcoin chart real quick and say hello to the chat this morning. It's been moving this morning. I saw Jesse Gulak in here. We've got Dante Cabrero in here with the first good morning. Good morning. Hope you all are having a great morning so far. Getting that caffeine in like we talked about. If y'all haven't, scroll up in the chat. I dropped Crypto Billy's motivational video. They are a great way to start the day. I start my workout with them. So I always love listening to that little bit of motivation as we get the day started. I did see Kyle Fields in here. Good morning, Kyle Fields. We've got K Diggity in here. Good morning, fam, with a coffee cup. Good morning, K Diggity. We've got, let's see, Darren Does Things in here. Good morning. And All Set as well. Good morning, All Set. Let's see if we got anyone else in here. Oh, we've got Username in here this morning as well. So chat should be nice and interesting today. I'm not seeing anyone else, but to all the people that are just watching this morning and haven't said anything in chat, I hope you're having a great morning as well. If you feel so obliged, say hello and good morning in the chat. We appreciate everyone that watches these videos. So, Duality Crypto saying hello. Good morning, Duality Crypto. Hope you're having a great morning. All right, let's hop into this Bitcoin chart. I did draw a new Fibonacci extension. Let's zoom that out to the weekly to kind of show y'all where I drew that from. I targeted the lows before the move on up, and I dropped it back down to the lows that we had made before we really got that bounce to the top side, which was something I had talked about for a while. I wanted to see that 90. It was about 91, a little bit lower a bounce, but we didn't really hit that exact target. We hit a little bit above it, which was a platinum pocket on a Fibonacci extension. We hit right above that before we really started moving back up to the upside. So I've drawn a new Fibonacci extension to kind of see where we might see some bouncing points or some rejection points along the way. I do still think there's a bit of some downside pressure that we could potentially see within the week or into next week before we really get a true bounce to the upside on some of those targets that we've talked about. I did see that 125,000 to about 130,000 where I'd really want to see that price end up for middle of Q1, which is February. We did see that bounce off of the zero line here on our Fibonacci extension, which is sitting right about that 91,000, which is where we had bottomed out at, and are continuing back up to this 236 above us at 104,223. Could see a little bit of some stalling out there. The weekly liquidity is sitting on some red, light red outflows. You do have a bit of some topping signals here where we're moving a little bit sideways. The prime oscillator is looking to the downside just a little bit, but it's getting some curvature. So some moves to the upside with some swift movement there could really switch things around on your more higher term time frames, which is also going to change my sentiment of we might see some downside pressure there, and that was at 86,800 where I have that real bottom side target. If we do end up pushing up a little bit, rejecting off that 382 and then coming back down to grab a little bit of liquidity that resides down there before really making that move to the upside. If you zoom on in to that daily chart, you can kind of see here we've got plenty of room to run to the upside, but that liquidity is sitting pretty red there. Let's move it on over so you can get a better view of things. You can kind of see we are faltering just a little bit as we are coming up to that 236. Would really need to turn that into some support here if we want to continue on that range to the upside. As you can see, we had broken it here very quickly before we really immediately dropped back down after a liquidity grab the other day. And we found some strong support here before really moving back up. This was that not other day, other week. So going to zoom that in to the 4 hour, kind of see how that liquidity is lying on the 4 hour. We do see nice green liquidity, but we are getting that overbought signals and reversal signals. Your MACD is right at that point where we could kind of cross the indicator line to the bottom side of things as we're coming up to this 236. So really going to need to maintain this green liquidity on our 4 hour chart and push things back to the upside with some buying pressure. We could see a quick reversal signal on the bottom side of things after the prime oscillator just cools off just a bit, as well as the MACD cooling off just a bit. If we are able to maintain this green liquidity and prevent the bears from really dragging things back down to the bottom side under that $100,000 mark, which is kind of what they're looking at doing for the morning. That $100,000 is a very psychological number, and they're looking to get some of those prices to the bottom side where they can really buy things back up. We do have that 1 hour chart, which is looking kind of nice. We are getting some oversold signals here as we're moving green, as we're staying green on that liquidity. You do have a reversal signal that could flash here in a little while after we get a little more curvature on your prime oscillator, as well as some curvature on the MACD, which bodes very well for a move back up to this 104-100 range where that 236 is residing to the top side. Really going to depend how the data drops for the morning. If we do see that ISM coming out quite nicely, as well as our job numbers coming out quite nicely on target, which is forecasted to be below. If we did get that on target or a little bit lower on those job numbers, you could definitely see that move to the upside. The 1 hour still has a little bit more room to go to the downside though. We could just make a higher low though, which is what we're looking at doing. That last low was sitting back here at 98,000. So we've still got a little bit of wiggle room there. Let's zoom it on into that 15-minute to kind of see where the morning is residing. As you can kind of see, as well as the 1 hour chart did, we got a bunch of oversold signals. That reversal signal flashed a little bit early, so I would like to see a second reversal signal kind of flash in, and maybe a third before I really have some big confidence in that move back to the upside. Your liquidity is sitting pretty red here, as you can see, and it is pushing back up on things. So to see us move a little sideways here while we cool off is definitely a healthy move after we got that big move to the upside the other day, and allows things to cool off before we really see that buying pressure step back in. And that's where we would see multiple reversal signals kind of flash before we really get that push back to the upside, especially since our higher term time frames like the 1 hour and the 4 hour and the daily look so primed to get that move to the upside. That's where if we are able to reclaim that 104 100 range and turn that into some support, we could really climb up very quickly and see that 105 106 range be our next kind of rejection point on Bitcoin. As you can kind of see here, we've got a rejection that we got very heavily off of the 106 500, and another one back up here at 107 800, and then again when we hit that 108 300, we got a very sharp rejection on things. So there's a few little bouncing points, rejection points, that we could kind of see if we were able to reclaim this 236 here. I would look at the middle side of that being that 107 700 range to kind of see a rejection if we are able to reclaim that 104 before we try to make some more support, especially since our weekly chart was sitting on some red outflows. It gives us a chance to move some of that to some inflows here and cool down on some of your lower term time frame charts. Let's hop into the chat real quick before we hop into this news article. I did see chat moving quite a lot. I saw Al Jr. in here all set saying Lamau totally cooked. I'm not sure what that one was about, but I can see Uncle Jesse being a foot toe guy. Oh my god, username already with it. Let's see. Good morning, lurkers from K Diggity. Good morning, good morning. We've got Al Jr. saying KDig is now listed on the site as a restricted region. All right then, time to move assets, lol. Who didn't hit that like button? Please be kind and hit the like. Thank you, Jesse Gulek. We've got Buck in here with a good morning, good morning. Good morning, good morning to you, Buck. Hope you're having a great day so far. Hope you're getting that caffeine in as well. We've got Janice Abels. Good morning, good morning. Hope you're having a great morning as well. Let's see, Al Jr. Why delete my message? That hurt. I have not been in the chat at all, so your message should still be there. I don't know where it would be, but if you go from top chat to live chat, you might see it there. We've got Museum of Corruption with the good morning coffee cup. Good morning, Museum of Corruption. We've got Baba Yaz in here as well. Good morning, Baba Yaz. Let's see. Buck saying, BC, your voice is so calming first thing in the morning. Well, I'm glad you get to start the day off with such a calm voice. I try to keep that voice on a level tone. I could definitely be a lot more energized, but I do like to try and keep the mornings nice and calm, and keep that wake up voice going. It's that voice for radio, you know. Let's hop into this news article real quick. We do have Bitcoin traders target 138,000 BTC price after Coinbase Premium hits a break-even point. BTC's price is up 8.5% in 2025, with the collective crypto market turning bullish ahead of President Donald Trump's inauguration on January 20th. With BTC breaking $100,000 yet again, multiple analysts presented new all-time high targets for the largest crypto asset in coming days. Could Bitcoin hit 138,000 in February? Bitcoin closed a daily candle above $100,000 for the first time on December 8th, but since then, it's been above the six-figure level for only 6 days. A daily close above 100,000 will be a pivotal turn, says Posty, a crypto trader, said that Bitcoin's current price action reflects its bullish rally from Q1 2021. After considering the laws of diminishing returns over a period of 4 years, the traders believe that if BTC continued to follow its previous cycle pattern, Bitcoin would be valued at around 138,000 in February. Meanwhile, Crypto Chimpanzee, a Bitcoin proponent, believed that Bitcoin's monthly chart illustrated a nasty setup from its previous bull run, the trader said. If we follow a similar path, the price of Bitcoin could go as high as 200,000, which is something we've also talked about here on Piper Academy. We've got a few different people that have talked about those targets. I talked about those last week. We had Lunar Beaches on MAD. When we did that show together for New Year's, also talked about some of those targets as well. Additionally, Axel Adler Jr. highlighted that 90% of the total Bitcoin supply is currently in profit. The Bitcoin researcher explained that unless there is a black swan in the current cycle, BTC drawdowns could be minimal and emulate its 2017 bull run rather than 2021, when China's BTC mining ban momentarily halted the rally. Why is Bitcoin's price up today? Coinbase premium at a break-even point. After a period of rigorous selling between December 18th and January 2nd, Bitcoin's Coinbase premium has returned to a neutral index, as recorded on January 4th. And a recent quick take post on Crypto Quant IT Tech, an anonymous Bitcoin analyst explained that the premium increasing back to a break-even point shows that sentiment by the U.S. and institutional investors is back. Here's kind of that chart on the premium of things. As you can kind of see here, we are back to that break-even point, which was at 99, like sitting right below that $100,000 point, and kind of bodes well for a push back to the upside on Bitcoin's prices, where we're going to need to reclaim some of those rejection points that we had seen on that climb to 108,000 turned into some support here. However, it is important to remember that Coinbase Premium largely tracks U.S. retail investor sentiment rather than institutional sentiment. On the contrary, Cointelegraph earlier reported that overall Bitcoin retail investors' transaction volumes have dropped significantly since BTC reached $108,000 last month. The rolling 30-day change in retail size transaction volumes under 10,000 has dropped to lows, which was last witnessed in September 2024, with the variation dropping under 10%. Dark Frost, an on-chain analyst, said that it means retail interest has dropped significantly, but it opens an ideal buying opportunity over the long term. From a technical perspective, Bitcoin has undergone a bullish break of structure after it closed a daily candle above $97,000 last week. And that was right around that golden pocket range, which I said I wanted to see turned into some support before we continue that move to the upside. And here, where it talks about a good buying opportunity, is a nice flow into this article right here, where MicroStrategy's $2 billion preferred stock strategy could unlock institutional gold mine, analyst says. Before we dive into this headline, if anyone wants to send me some alt requests here. Please drop those in the chat for me. If it's an asset that I'm not familiar with, make sure to drop the exchange that you'd like that looked on as well. That way I can best provide you the information that you would want. Let's see what the chat's saying. We've got Jesse Gulak saying it's 1:24 p.m. Went to bed at 5 a.m. Jonas Abols is saying it's 2:26 for me. It is 6. It would have been 6:26 for me there. Let's see. K Diggity saying we should play that final countdown song over and over for Uncle Jesse. Let's see. We've got username dropping the stiletto. Oh no, not the stilettos, Jesse Gulak says. Depends on how much Nutella is on it. I'm not sure what that one was about, but oh, well, Uncle Jesse licked the glitter off. Jesus, username. Let's see. BC, the bros caught on to your Injective. Well, it's about time. Injective is an amazing play. I talked about it a lot in their chats, and it's about time that they caught on to that, because Injective is a very strong project. It's nice to trade on as well, and when you hit those highs, you just exit your trade, you wait for the lows, and you buy on spot, and then you trade that all over again. Near is quite similar on that as well. I have liked Near. It is very easy to kind of hit where those targets would be within a few cents, and hit very accurately on those. We've got Near and Injective, and any other projects that you'd like me to take a look at. I've got Ondo on there as well from Baba Yaz. Any upside before the token unlock? Let's see. BC reading the comments without pre-reading. Yeah, it's a little bit of a dangerous game. But you know, everyone's comment gets the opportunity to be read, but I might not catch it a little bit until I'm halfway through there. Buck did the call for $800 Injective too. Oh, was that Investing Bros saying $800 Injective? Because honestly, this is why I don't believe in price targets, because that seems a little bit extreme. You know, it topped out at $57 when we got that big move to the upside with the rest of the market. And the market cap that Injective would need to hit $800 is kind of insane. So that's like people saying XRP to $100. I think eventually Injective, way down the road, when it has some of its real world use case put into use, could eventually see that $800 Injective. But for me, I'm looking for maybe 200 where I start laddering out, and even that to me is a bit extreme. We'll kind of have to see how the altcoin market really takes off this cycle, because I do think the altcoin market is a lot different than anything else we have ever seen. Everyone thinks it's going to be insane. We're going to see all those crazy gains just like we have over and over. Oh, username saying $800 link. Yeah, that one was insane. I did watch that video, and I don't think there's any way that Link is getting to $800 this cycle, even with some of the real world adoption that it's been getting. So there is a lot of things that will need to happen before we see some of these crazy targets on some of these altcoins that people have talked about. $800 Link, it does sound amazing, but I don't think that we get anywhere close to that unless we have real world adoption like XRP is seeing, which has definitely bolstered its price. The Asia markets use XRP a lot. You do have Swift, who is trying to use XRP and Link. So we'll kind of need to see some of these real world use cases come into effect on a global scale before we really see some of these crazy price targets. And especially with some of that rollover from BTC into your alts being diminished with institutional buying pressure. The most they're going to be able to do is roll over into ETH and maybe Solana if Solana gets that vote of confidence from the SEC and a spot ETF come August. So, any other requests? I did see ETH as well. So let me get ETH written out. I've got Near, Injective, Ondo, and ETH. I will take a look at those after I hop into this news article and kind of take a look at gold, silver, and the Dixie. Let me take a quick drink of water. Got a new gallon jug, so trying to keep with some new goals in the new year. We've got MicroStrategy's 2 billion preferred stock strategy could unlock institutional gold mine. MicroStrategies is planning to raise up to $2 billion by issuing preferred stock, advancing its ambitious 21-21 plan to sell 42 billion in equity and fixed income securities. The software company has leveraged its issuance of convertible bonds to capitalize on share price volatility, benefiting from a stock that soared 500% last year. MicroStrategies has tapped into the demand among convertible bond investors for higher implied volatility, a feature that benchmark analysts say enhanced the appeal of the equity conversion options embedded in the bonds. The extent to which investors value this element of MSTR's offering has been reflected in a oversubscription of its convertible offering and their pricing, wrote benchmark equity analyst Mark Palmer in a note on Monday. He cited November 2024 issuance as a key example where strong demand for 1.75 billion in convertible bonds allowed the offering to be upsized to 3 billion. Notably, the bonds carried a 0% coupon. By turning to perpetual preferred stock, MicroStrategies could attract institutional investors such as insurance companies, pension funds, and banks, Palmer said. These entities typically favor assets with fixed dividend payments and relatively low volatility. Unlike bonds, perpetual preferred stocks does not have a maturity date or a mandatory redemption timeline, instead paying fixed dividends indefinitely as long as the issuing company remains operational. Further, MicroStrategies is retaining the right to include features such as cash dividend payments and convertibility into Class A common stock for perpetual preferred stock in its plan on issuing. We believe it is likely that any preferred stock the company offers would include both features for convertibility into common shares, providing preferred stock investors with elements of volatility and optionality that they do not often see. Palmer wrote, these securities, in essence, would offer preferred investors a unique proposition, an embedded indefinite call option on a company whose value is largely tied to a highly volatile cryptocurrency. Benchmark reiterated a buy rating for MicroStrategy stock and maintained its price target of $650. Its valuation model assumed that Bitcoin will reach 225,000 by the end of 2026 and that the company will have accumulated 638,400 BTC by that time. MicroStrategies recently purchased 1,070 BTC for approximately $101 million at an average price of $94,400 per Bitcoin. As of January 5th, the company holds 447,470 Bitcoin, worth over $44 billion. MicroStrategies shares were up 7% to 365 at the time of publication. And this was a beginning of the new year. And as everyone else was looking at these bottom side targets down here where we got these equal candle bodies, MicroStrategies was not panicking. MicroStrategies was buying along with the rest of the institutions. Like I've talked about a bunch, you don't see that affects the price movement as much because of the fact that it is bought OTC. But as you see on the other article I had talked about, where you see those targets for higher, that is played into the accounting of where those targets lie, because you do factor in supply, and they are chipping away at the supply held by exchanges, which affects the premium on things. Got Lunar Beaches saying BC is back. Yes, I am back. I moved this past weekend, and when I tried to stream yesterday morning over Wi-Fi, my computer said that your internet is boo-boo and you need to hardline it. So that's what I did yesterday. I hardlined my PC and we are ready to go. So Darren Does Things saying MSTR fighting with BlackRock to see who can own more BTC. They definitely are. MicroStrategies has that a little bit of an advantage. They've been buying since 2021, but they don't have as much money as BlackRock does. And BlackRock, with JP Morgan helping them as a money manager, saying, hey, you hold this fund and this fund, and you should invest 2%, which they've now raised their target from 1% to 2%, really helps BlackRock in this fight for who owned the most Bitcoin. Lunar Beach is saying moved in with the lady friend. I most definitely did not. It's a little bit too early for that. I moved in to a place where I'm paying half in rent than I was last year. So working to kind of save money as I go into this year, making more money so that I can potentially buy my first rental property this year. That's kind of my goals once I get completely debt free after I pay off my car this year. So that allows me to pay off my car just a little bit faster, get completely debt free, like Q2 of this year, and then focus on some rental properties. That's my goals for this year. So Unisoft is boo boo, says username Uniboo says Jesse Gulak. Y'all are too funny. Oh my goodness. All right, let's take a look at gold real quick before we hop into some of those alt requests. I'll ignore the Dixie for this morning since I don't have a lot of time. This is the hourly chart. As you can kind of see here, we are looking to battle this support line from back here. Let's zoom it on out a bit. As you can kind of see, this was a support line running from way back here. Hey there, doggo. Sorry about that. This was a support line running from way back here, which turned into a resistance line for a little bit. We bounced off of it, reclaimed it for a brief second before we really broke back below it. We are looking to battle it once again, but as you can see on our hourly chart, we are getting to that point where things are a bit toppy. So I do think we see another rejection off of this line before we try to make some support here back at our 382, sitting at 2,656. Maybe a little bit lower to the midline of this fair value gap where we're rejecting off of right now, which is at 2,651. Before we really try to reclaim this support line as some support. It's pretty much the same for silver. If you take a look at it, silver is back on that uptrend and is looking to do some battle with its support line before we really reclaim that. You do have the 236, which is on our Fibonacci retracement, sitting right below there. That's that 3191 range. We're looking to do battle with this before we really get back up to that $31 range and continue to the upside. I do think as we see some of the bond market and our dollar really getting that downside pressure, you might see some of your assets, your precious metals get that little bit of a boost to the upside so that you can see that security. I did have ETH pulled up. ETH was requested. I've been taking a look at ETH for a while. It is one of my favorite altcoins to hold. And I've got a buddy that constantly wants me to look at ETH for him and give him some updates because he works a lot. And he's like, bro, I just go off what you say now because, you pay more attention to the charts than I do. And as we had broke above some of these lines back here, I had told him that when he missed his buying opportunity to not have too much fear in things because we'd come back down, and when we came back down, to make sure that he bought those for me, that he bought that when I said something. That way he wasn't, when we broke back above, he wasn't like, oh snap, I missed out. Because that's something that's happened to him quite a bit as he's been busy. I told him to set those targets and to just click the buy button when those targets got hit. So he did some buying back here in this range, and we have made the move to the upside off of it. We are now rejecting a bit off of our resistance line. That was a more macro resistance line. We've got that daily chart pulled up where you can kind of see a little bit better runs from the highs that we saw back here in March, and again off of that pushback up to the top side before we really got that move back down. So looking to reclaim this as some support before we really move back to the upside. As you can kind of see here, it's never been claimed as support. We got the move to the upside, got the move back down very quickly before we got a bunch of buying pressure to drag us back above it, where we really faltered extremely hard and just drug extremely quickly back below it. So going to need to see this reclaimed and turned into some support to really see that move back to the upside and get that move to the golden pocket on the Fibonacci extension that I have drawn out here. Might need to hide some of these Fibonacci. Let's see, which one's that? Nope, other one. There we go. There we go. We've got our golden pocket sitting right here at 3,833, which would be a nice little rejection point before we come back and retest this and try to turn it into some support. We do have red liquidity the same way that Bitcoin does on this daily, but when you kind of zoom it on in just a little bit more, take a look at that 4 hour, you're seeing the same thing as Bitcoin, where we've got our 4 hour, which is sitting nice and green and kind of looking to cool off before we really make those pushes to key levels. You've got your MACD, which is sitting a little under your indicator line on the top side of things. So if we can see some cooling off on things as we move sideways, really bodes well for an extreme swing back to the upside when we get these data drops here at 8:30 and 10 a.m. Tell me about today's data. I touched on that a little bit earlier. We get the ISM services PMI, which is at 10, and the JOLTS job openings, which is at 10. We do have the forecast for the services PMI looking to tick up just a little bit, and the JOLTS job opening looking to tick down. So if we do see that hit on forecast for JOLTS jobs and maybe a little bit under for services PMI, this does bode well for the market. I would look at JOLTS jobs maybe coming in a little bit lower as we're going into the new year. We did see unemployment hitting very nicely under some targets, which bodes well for the market. Let's zoom on in to that hourly on Ethereum and kind of see if it's looking quite similar to Bitcoin. We do see that hourly ticking down. You've got your money flow, which just ticked to the red side of things. Just a light red though. So a little bit different than Bitcoin was on that 1 hour. Waiting for some oversold signals and some reversal signals to flash here on the hourly. But it's just some sideways movement here for Ethereum. If we do end up breaking some of these lows down here at 3,600, which was the lows for back here, it would be a little bit of a trend break on things. So going to need to hold some of these levels, at least make some equal lows here, or a little bit of a higher low, because you do have about 2,621 being the low from last time. We're sitting a little bit above it this time. So looking to continue that trend. You do have the 15-minute looking like we're hitting that reversal. You've got two reversal signals shown, the oversold signal, and waiting for a third reversal signal to really flash to show us that we're continuing the move to the upside. This has all been a bit of some cooling off, which is kind of what we want to see on the 1 hour as well, before we really reclaim this resistance line I was talking about and try to push back up to this golden pocket here. I did see Ondo requested as well, so let's scroll down, take a look at Ondo. I know I had it here somewhere. My list is a little bit long. Let's see, Ondo way down here. It's been a while since I looked at some Ondo. Let's zoom it on out, take a look at that daily chart, kind of see how liquidity is sitting for Ondo. On that daily, we do have some red liquidity for outflows sitting on Ondo. We are getting a bit of some curvature on your prime oscillator while it's sitting green. Your MACD's getting that same curvature below the 0 line and looking like it's not even going to try to contest with that indicator line, which also just broke to the bottom side of things. So looking like we've got some more downside pressure for Ondo on the daily chart. I did see he had requested Ondo because it looks like they have a token unlock coming. I have not kept up with Ondo, so I'm not sure if that token unlock is today or this week. So definitely looking like it's got some downside pressure there with the token unlock that is heading its way. Let me kind of see where we might lie on a Fibonacci retracement there. Might need to adjust that since it's been a while since I've taken a look at it. Let's unlock that and readjust that to the highs there. There we go. Let's lock that back up so we don't move that bad boy by accident. As you can kind of see here, we are breaking below that 382. You've got your fair value gap, which was drawn from back here. I'm not sure if that's from the 4 hour. Looks like it's from the yep, that's from the 4 hour chart. That's one of those ones that I really like to draw fair value gaps from, either the daily or the 4 hour, especially since I'm more of a swing trader. And we are looking to potentially fill that fair value gap here, where we've got a bottom side target of $1.20, about 26 cents. It's sitting right below that 26 cent mark. You do have continued downside pressure on this 4 hour chart. The liquidity is sitting nice and green, but is looking like it's about to roll over here a little bit more. especially with your prime oscillator sitting so red and hitting very far to the downside. I did see Crypto Princess in here. Good morning, Crypto Princess. I know it's good afternoon for you, so I hope you've been having a great day. I did see Jay Violet in here as well. Good morning, Jay Violet. As you can kind of see here, we're looking for our bottoming point. We've got that $1.46 for Ondo, which could be a slight bouncing point on our way to the downside, especially with the liquidity being so green before we start to see that really roll over to some red. Let's take a look at the 1 hour. As you can kind of see here, we're rolling over on liquidity on the 1 hour as well. Here's that rollover as we're seeing the prime oscillator get that move to the downside, and our MACD really looking to push down as well. Just broke below our indicator line, getting a little bit of some curvature there, but not too heavy of a curvature, which really indicates some more downside pressure on things. If we are able to make a higher low here, right at that midline, $1.46 of that fair value gap, and see that push back to the upside before we really get that harsh rejection and a move to the downside off of that 382 and $1.55, especially with a token unlock heading Ondo's way. You do have the 15-minute chart, which is starting to show those oversold signals and some reversal signals, but your prime oscillator is sitting at that light red point. Your MACD is getting a bit of some curvature, but nothing too crazy there, especially with the liquidity rolling over on the 15-minute as well, sitting at that light red. So getting a little bit of a push up for the morning, and that's where I see that rejection off of this 382 here before we really continue more to the downside. I did see Injective and Near requested as well. I've got time for one of those. So let's take a look at Injective. There it is. My favorite alt project besides Ethereum. It is my biggest alt holding. Let's zoom it on out to that 1 day chart and zoom it on out just a little bit. I had a buying target back here at that below that $20 mark, and was looking for this fair value gap to kind of get closed. It did not end up getting closed. It is still open, which I don't think bodes very well for Injective. It does like to close fair value gaps. It has done this over and over and over again. With your daily liquidity sitting kind of red here, I would look at some rejection points a little bit higher. We do have that $30.17 mark being the 382, the 50% line on our fib retracement before we could really push back a little bit lower. We are sitting above the golden pocket, but our prime oscillator is kind of running a little bit out of steam here with our liquidity sitting so red. Waiting for those signals to kind of flash that it's overbought and some reversal signals to start showing. As you can kind of see here, you zoom it on in, that 4 hour, we're really getting that rollover on your MACD, looking across that indicator line to the bottom side. Did you vote for Injective 3.0? I did not vote for Injective 3.0. I didn't dive too far into it, but I am very happy for Injective 3.0. It's moving a bit quicker. It's got some more targets that they'd like to see in the DeFi community. So I might have to break that down in tomorrow's show and kind of dive into Injective. It's got some big things headed this way. That's where the floor on things is a little bit higher for Injective going into the bear market that we're going to see for 2026. So Really got that curvature on our MACD, looking to drag a little bit lower. You do have a nice and green liquidity though that is moving sideways while your prime oscillator is moving to the downside. So this could be a nice cooling off period for the 4 hour, but with our liquidity looking so red on the daily, and if you zoom it on in, your liquidity sitting on that rollover on the hourly, I would look at some more downside once we hit some of the top side targets here. You do have that if we falter at 27.66, really sending things back down. If we are able to claim that as some support, you do have plenty of room to run to the upside, with that 29 range being an area where we could see some resistance, all the way up to that 50% line, and that $30.17 mark being the real top side of things before we reject a bit lower. Let's take a look at the 15-minute real quick before we wind it on out and see y'all in Alex's. We did get the reversal signals here on our 15-minute, stacked up some divergences, but not seeing any oversold signals, which does not bode very well for Injective, especially since it is on that move to the upside and liquidity's been rolling over for it. So really looking to, if we push back up, to try to hold this golden pocket here at $24.75 as some support, which I don't know if we're able to do for Injective. It does like these fair value gaps and to close them before it really gets that explosive move to the upside. I'm going to wind it on down. I know Alex just started his live, so thank you to everyone that tuned in today. I appreciate every single one of you showing up, hopping in the chat, giving me some things to talk about. This is all for you guys, and I do like to cater to what you guys want to see on the show. So thank you for tuning in. Make sure to tune in to Piper and OC Guy for the morning market report. That is at 9:30 a.m. Eastern time with the market open. We do have a Trade Academy with Trade Intuition. We do have, that's 4 p.m. Eastern time, and he does some great jobs on teaching you how to do TA. If you're confused about what you're seeing, or you need a little help, or you just need some clarification on things, that's the man to ask. We do have the Crypto Nightcap with FD White and TradeFly at 8:30 p.m. Eastern time. Another great short show to watch in the evenings before you hit that Markets After Dark with Lunar Beaches Crypto at 11 p.m. Eastern time. Make sure to hit that like button on the way out if you haven't, and subscribe if you're new. And I will see y'all in Alex O Crypto's chat in just a second. Make sure to wake up, because today is going to be a good day.